of the best things that you heard today, or what you're going to practice when you get back home. Maybe something got in your head, never heard it before, you're excited about it. Maybe it's something you're really familiar with and want to try again. I don't care. Look through your notes like you're doing, something that comes to mind. You got one?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Doesn't matter what you think you are, what does your team think
Yeah.
you are?
And how do you find out what the team thinks?
Ask them.
Yeah, you got to ask them. Sometimes it's eyeball to eyeball. Sometimes it's in a team meeting. Sometimes it's one-on-one. What do you think? Remember I told you those 4 words? People like to hear it. Who's got something else? Anything, doesn't matter. Something from the notes. Yes, sir, coming your way. Thank you. What do you like?
I'll make it more client-driven in confrontations.
Tell us more.
Well, instead of taking it on you, it's actually the expectation of what does our clients expect.
Yeah, the triangulation piece, right.
Yeah.
So instead of going head-to-head with your own people, what you're going to do is figure out a way to use triangulation and get the client or the customer to decide for you what it is that's to be done. You're going to have to check the signaling again. Coming your way, it's going to be a lot more delicate with me sharing the lavalier microphone. Can you shout it out?
Walk into a room smiling.
Yeah, why not, man? It's worth it, right? How about coming home with a smile on your face? See what the wife thinks when you do that. Just saying, you're teaching your kids how daddy comes home from work. Yeah? Sir?
I have to practice on saying I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm proud of you.
That's hard.
Start with the kids because it's easy. Then move to older people.
It's hard with older people.
Yeah?
It's because some people don't take that very well.
Yeah.
You don't know how they're going to take it.
There
You
you
don't
go.
know if they're going to take it in a good way or a bad way.
Yeah.
And I think they also think if you're saying you're proud of them, they might be belittling them a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a tough one.
It's gonna take some practice. You know, I never fib to you, right? I can tell you that I had to practice it because I didn't buy it at first when I heard it. That it sounds like inappropriate or condescending or just not a fit, you know. And I can tell you, I'm so good at it now, and you can get the same way. Nobody ever returns delivery on it. Nobody ever says, "What'd you say that for?" You know. Now they will do this. It's like a compliment, and it's just signaling. So you ever give somebody a compliment and they don't accept it? What's up with that? I mean, easy stuff. Like you say to them, "That sweater looks good on you," and they say, "This old thing." That's an inappropriate response. What should they say? Thank you. But they couldn't say thank you. Why? Why? Confidence, self-esteem, they don't have it. They can't even say thank you. You did all the work. And they couldn't even say thank you. Why? Because of what happened when they were 5 years old. Or they just came from a job where they never get thanked for anything or appreciated for anything. It's just a signal, right? But it's all a clue about what's happening. That sweater looks good on you. I wore this yesterday, or I wore this last week. What does that have to do with anything? But they can't say thank you. So I say, "I'm really proud of you." Sometimes there's a variation on that, sir. What's your first name?
Michael.
Thank you. That's a great name. Sometimes you should be proud of yourself, or we're all proud of you, or I don't know. There's a million versions of it, variations on it, right? So practice it, man. I promise you, it feels wrong at first, but you can get the hang of it.
It's not been a part of the presentation today, but one thing we've worked on at central office with the folks on the phone is when they've been helping somebody and they say, "Thank you," used to say, "No problem."
Yes.
And instead we say, "It's my pleasure."
Yes.
because no problem diminishes what you have done in the mind of the listener.
Yeah.
And instead, when you say my pleasure, you're kindly taking credit for it.
Yeah, that's an old Ritz-Carlton thing. You know, Ritz-Carlton used to be like the gold standard of customer service in the hotel business. Marriott bought them a little while ago, and their culture fell away. But if you were staying at a Ritz-Carlton and he said something to you like that, you said something to them, they wouldn't say no problem, because literally that's translated, you, the customer, are not a problem to me. It was the most bizarre thing to say, but that's our casual society. No problem, no prob, whatever, you know, it doesn't make any sense. So they went with pleasure, or my pleasure. Also at the Ritz-Carlton, they never said hello to you. What did they say? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, because it was more respectful, more gentlemanly. That's, by the way, in Spanish, there's like 3 ways to say hello. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, buenas noches. And in the United States, we're like cavemen. Yo! I saw hands, all kinds of hands. You're next. We'll get everybody. I love it. Hope I can reach here.
When you said do unto others as they want to be done unto, so just learning each individual player on your team and coaching them up
Yeah.
to grow in their individual way.
Excellent. And you can see how they'd be different.
Yeah.
They're all the same kind of, but they're different people, different personalities, different appeals, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And different motivation because of where they came from. They had different backgrounds, right? Different sensibilities. Sir?
I got a question. Mike has said it's kind of hard to change the old timers, but me personally, I think I have to butter up the millennials because they're so used to, everybody gets a trophy. So, sometimes you have to pick and choose how to relate to them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So a couple things going on here, Rod. You said initially, you guys were talking about changing people. And remember, we're not doing that anymore.
Exactly.
We let them be who they are.
Yeah.
So if we're talking to the boomer, we let the boomer be the boomer. Well, I'm talking to the young people now. You let the person think that they're better than you because they have more historical perspective, like we talked about at lunch with Mark. Mark says boomers are cool because boomers know where we came from, whereas the millennials might not appreciate it. They didn't live through it. And boomers need to let millennials be who they are because they're the new thing. Whether they like it or not, that's what's coming next. And just because they don't have the historical perspective does not make them Satan. And by the way, we happen to have names for these people now, boomers and millennials, but this has been going on forever. Every generation hates the generation after them because their skin is so tight.
I actually enjoyed the "Do you really want to work here?"
Yeah.
questioning as far as opening up a dialogue, and I thought a little bit about it, and to flip it a little bit also, especially at the hiring stage, do I really want you working here?
Oh yeah, it's just evaluation. That's excellent. I like the mirror. So listen, it's tone too, right? So if I listen to the 2 ways I can say it, do you really want to work here? Or you can go Columbo. Remember Peter Falk on the movie? And he pretends to be confused, and he scratches his head, and he's got the stogie and the raincoat, and he goes, help me understand. I said, you keep coming to work, you keep cashing the checks, you seem like you might like the job, but you're absent a lot, and you're late, and some of your work isn't the best. I'm just wondering if your heart's not in it. Do you really want to work here? So it took me a little bit longer to get it out, but it's a much different kind of tone. I'm genuinely confused because you're sending me mixed signals. Help me see it. I'm glad you like that. Who else? I love all the great. We'll come back to Jim in a minute. Nobody has said confrontation yet. That's okay. Did you? Yeah. Kind of? Okay. The thing about confrontation that's interesting is that you have to go back and actually initiate this dialogue. I mean, you have to go tap people on the shoulder. Got a minute? And that may not be your thing because you like to send group texts or whatever, but you got to go, got a minute? Just like you do on TV. Can we have the room? You know, the line they always use. Sir?
You were talking about the blindside bias.
Yeah.
And everybody has it. So just the fact that you have to listen sometimes and realize when people are telling you that you're not seeing something, you don't have to take it as a bad thing. You have to understand that sometimes you just don't see it.
You bet. So another Renee story, and she knows I talk about her because I'm heavy